The massive ship hung silent in the dark space beyond Mars. Its black surface absorbed all light, making it look like a hole in the fabric of space itself. Inside, Commander Rex stood at the main viewing window, his clawed hands clasped behind his back. His scaled skin reflected the dim red lighting of the bridge as he watched the blue planet in the distance. "Report," he growled, his deep voice echoing through the command center. The other Ravagers worked quickly at their stations, their natural armor plates clicking softly as they moved. "The third planet shows signs of civilization," Commander said, his second-in-command. "But they are primitive compared to us. Their ships can barely reach their own moon." Rex's mouth twisted into what passed for a smile among his kind, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Show me their military capabilities." The main screen lit up with images from their scout drones. Tanks, jets, and ships appeared in quick succession. Rex watched with growing confidence. These were simple machines, nothing like the advanced weapons his people had developed over centuries of warfare across the stars. Their strongest weapons used chemical explosives and simple projectiles, the weapons officer reported. Their armor is basic metal. No energy shields. No plasma weapons. He paused, checking another reading. They do have some atomic weapons, but the radiation would harm them too much to use them effectively. Rex remembered their last conquest, the mighty Krell warriors of System 17. Even they had fallen to the Ravagers' superior strength and technology. And the Krell had energy weapons and shield technology. These humans would be even easier to defeat. "What about their physical capabilities?" Rex asked, turning to face his science officer. "They are weak, Commander," she replied, bringing up biological scans on the screen. "Their skin is soft, with no natural armor. Their muscles are much weaker than ours. They have dull teeth and no claws. They can't see well in darkness, and their hearing is poor. They wouldn't last 10 seconds in close combat with one of our warriors." Rex nodded, pleased with the information. This would be an easy conquest, perhaps the easiest yet. He walked closer to the view screen, studying the images of human soldiers in their training exercises. They looked so fragile in their cloth uniforms, carrying their primitive rifles. "Their only advantage seems to be their numbers," the science officer continued. "There are many of them, over 7 billion, but they are divided into different territories and often fight among themselves." This made Rex laugh, a harsh sound that made junior officers flinch. "Even better. They will be too busy fighting each other to unite against us. Prepare the invasion fleet." The bridge burst into activity as orders were relayed throughout the massive ship. In the hangars below, warriors began boarding their attack vessels. Each Ravager soldier stood over 7 feet tall, their natural armor gleaming under the lights, their clawed hands checking their advanced weapons one last time. Rex watched the preparations on the security feeds with pride. His people truly were the apex predators of the galaxy. They had evolved from the deadliest hunters on their home world, and their natural advantages had only been enhanced by technology. Each soldier was worth 100 enemy warriors in close combat. "Commander," his second-in-command approached with a datapad. "I have the invasion plan ready for your approval. Standard pattern. We hit their military bases first, then their leadership centers. Their primitive weapons won't be able to touch our ship shields. We expect total victory within 1 Earth week." Rex approved the plan with a quick swipe of his claw. "Begin the operation. I want our first strike to show them exactly what they're dealing with. Let them see true predators in action." As he watched Earth grow larger in the view screen, Rex felt only confidence. His people had conquered 17 star systems. They had defeated enemies with energy weapons, force fields, and battleships that could destroy moons. These humans, with their primitive projectile weapons and weak bodies, would be nothing more than prey. But if he had studied Earth's history more carefully, he might have noticed something important. Humans didn't need claws or armor to become Earth's dominant species. They had something far more dangerous: the ability to adapt, to create tools, to work together, and most importantly, the determination to never give up. The invasion fleet launched from the mothership, their engines burning bright against the darkness of space. As they approached Earth, Rex gave the order to begin the attack. He had no way of knowing that he had just started a war that would change everything his people believed about themselves, about humanity, and about what it truly means to be an apex predator. The first wave of Ravager ships entered Earth's atmosphere at midnight GMT. They expected no resistance. They were wrong. Commander Rex watched from his command ship as the invasion began. His attack fleet moved in perfect formation, their black ships barely visible against the night sky. Their target was a military base in the middle of what humans call the United States. It should have been an easy victory. The first explosion caught everyone by surprise. "Commander," his second-in-command shouted, "we've lost contact with Strike Group 7. Rex's head snapped up from his tactical display. "What? How?" Before anyone could answer, 3 more explosions lit up the night sky. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were ready for them. Multiple launches detected from the surface. The sensor officer reported, his claws clicking rapidly on his console. "They're using some kind of guided missiles. Our scans didn't show weapons like these." Rex growled in frustration. The humans had hidden their true military capability. His scouts had seen their obvious weapons, the ones they showed to everyone. But underground, in secret bases and hidden facilities, they had prepared for this exact situation. "Evasive maneuvers," Rex ordered. "Activate all shields." But the human missiles were smarter than expected. They tracked the Ravager ships despite their advanced stealth technology. When they hit, they didn't just explode. They released some kind of energy pulse that disrupted the Ravager shields. 20 ships lost. Someone shouted. 30, 40. Rex slammed his armored fist into his command chair, launched the second wave. Target their missile sites. The second wave of Ravager ships swooped down from high atmosphere, their weapons charging. But the humans had more surprises. Hidden anti-aircraft guns emerged from what looked like ordinary buildings. Energy weapons, technology the Ravagers thought humans didn't have. Fired from camouflaged positions. "How?" Rex demanded. "How do they have energy weapons?" His science officer worked frantically at her station. "They'd been preparing, Commander. These weapons, they're not as advanced as ours, but they're effective. And they have so many of them." Another explosion rocked Rex's command ship. On his tactical display, red dots representing his ships were disappearing at an alarming rate. The humans weren't fighting like prey animals. They were fighting like they had studied the Ravagers, learned their weaknesses, and prepared carefully. "All ships, pull back to high orbit," Rex ordered. "We need to regroup." As his surviving ships retreated, Rex received reports from other attack groups around the planet. The story was the same everywhere. The humans had hidden weapons. They had underground bunkers filled with technology the scouts never saw. They had defense systems that could track and target Ravager stealth technology. Status report. Rex demanded once they reached safe orbit. His officers looked at each other nervously before one spoke up. "We've lost 30% of our attack fleet, Commander." The humans shot down 300 ships in less than an hour. Rex's natural armor plates clicked together as he paced the bridge. This was impossible. No species had ever caused such losses in the first strike. The humans should have been helpless. "Show me their communications," he ordered. The main screen filled with intercepted human broadcasts. Military leaders were already coordinating their defense. Soldiers were moving quickly and efficiently, like they had practiced for this many times. And civilians weren't running in panic. They were calmly following evacuation plans. They knew we were coming, Rex realized. Somehow, they detected us long before we thought they could. They've been preparing for this. His second-in-command approached cautiously. "Should we retreat, Commander? We could return with a larger fleet." Rex's pride wouldn't let him consider that option. "No, we change our strategy. If they want to fight smart, We'll show them why we're the galaxy's apex predators. Prepare the ground forces. We'll see how well they fight when they have to face us claw to claw." As he gave the orders for the next phase of the invasion, Rex tried to ignore the uneasy feeling in his gut. The humans had surprised them once. What other surprises did they have waiting? But he pushed the doubt away. After all, no prey species had ever defeated the Ravagers in ground combat. Surely, this wouldn't be the first. He was about to learn just how wrong he could be. The first Ravager drop pods hit the ground outside a major human city. Steam rose from their metal shells as warrior after warrior emerged, each standing over 7 feet tall, their natural armor gleaming in the morning sun. They expected to find terrified humans hiding in buildings. Instead, they found an empty city. "Something's wrong," the squad leader growled, his claws tightening on his plasma rifle. "Where are all the humans?" The answer came in the form of thunder, not from the sky, but from the ground. The entire street erupted as hidden explosives detonated beneath the Ravager forces. Concrete and metal flew everywhere. The warriors' natural armor protected them from the worst of it, but dozens were thrown through the air. "Ambush," someone shouted, just before the real attack began. Human snipers, hidden in buildings far beyond what the Ravagers thought was human weapon range, opened fire. The shots came from every direction. The Ravagers had expected primitive bullets to bounce off their armor. Instead, the rounds punched straight through, designed specifically to penetrate their natural protection. Commander Rex watched the disaster unfold through the tactical feeds from his command ship. "How are they doing this? Those aren't normal human weapons." His science officer analyzed the data quickly. "They've been studying us, Commander. These bullets, they're made of some kind of dense metal alloy. They're designed to target the weak points in our natural armor." More Ravager drop pods landed in other cities around the world. Each time, they found the same thing: empty streets and carefully planned traps. The humans weren't fighting fair. They weren't meeting the Ravagers in open combat, where superior strength and speed would win. They were fighting smart. In the mountains, Ravager warriors found themselves struggling to breathe in the thin air while human soldiers, trained for high-altitude combat, picked them off from hidden positions. In the deserts, human tanks appeared from underground bunkers, fired devastating shots, and disappeared again before the Ravagers could respond. This isn't how prey is supposed to fight. Rex roared as another squad was wiped out. But the humans weren't prey, and they weren't finished. When the Ravagers finally managed to corner some human soldiers for close combat, they got another surprise. The humans were wearing powered armor suits that made them just as strong as the Ravagers. And they fought with strange weapons, not just guns, but things that fired nets of sticky material that hardened instantly, trapping Ravager warriors in place. "They're using our own hunting tactics against us," Rex's second-in-command realized. "They studied how we fight and developed counters for everything." Hour after hour, the reports got worse. The Ravagers were losing warriors faster than ever before in their history. Human weapons were too precise, their tactics too well planned, and they had so many different ways to fight. When the Ravagers tried to use their superior night vision to attack in darkness, they found the humans had heat-tracking goggles and infrared sensors. When they tried to use their advanced communication systems to coordinate attacks, they found the humans could hack and disrupt their signals. "Commander," his tactical officer reported grimly, "we've lost contact with 40% of our ground forces. The humans, they're not just defending. They're hunting us." Rex watched the tactical display in growing horror as more and more Ravager signals went dark. The humans weren't just ready for them. They were better prepared than any species the Ravagers had ever fought. They had turned every city into a trap, every open space into a killing field. "Pull them back," Rex ordered finally. "Get our warriors back to the ships. We need a new strategy." But as the surviving Ravagers tried to retreat, they learned one final lesson about human warfare. The humans had no intention of letting them escape. They had planned for this too. Anti-aircraft weapons hidden around every extraction point opened fire, shooting down transport after transport. "These aren't prey animals," Rex said quietly, watching his warriors die. "There's something else. Something worse." He turned to his officers, his voice grim. "Prepare our biological weapons. If we can't beat them in combat, we'll try something else." But as he gave the order, Rex didn't know that the humans had prepared for that too. They had been ready for everything, and they were just getting started. Commander Rex stood in his ship's production bay, watching as robots assembled new weapons and repaired damaged vessels. The massive room should have been busy with activity. Instead, it was mostly empty. They simply couldn't replace their losses fast enough. "Show me the human factories," he ordered. The main screen lit up with satellite images that made his blood run cold. Human manufacturing facilities were working around the clock. Their factories stretched for miles, producing tanks, planes, and weapons in numbers that seemed impossible. And they were building new factories even as the old ones worked. "How are they doing this?" Rex demanded. "We've destroyed dozens of their production centers." His industrial officer clicked his claws nervously. "The humans. They're converting everything to military production. Car factories now make tanks. Electronics plants make guidance systems. They're even building weapons in underground facilities we can't find." But it wasn't just the speed of human production that worried Rex. It was how quickly they were improving their weapons. Every day, human technology got better. They were learning from every battle, studying captured Ravager equipment, and creating new ways to fight. "Commander," his science officer burst onto the bridge. "You need to see this." The screen changed to show human soldiers in action. They moved differently now, worked together in new ways. They had learned the Ravagers' fighting patterns and developed counters for each one. And they never stopped. Even when wounded, even when tired, they kept coming. "What kind of creatures are they?" Rex wondered aloud. No species fights like this. His science officer pulled up ancient human hunting records. "They're persistence hunters, Commander. In their early history, they didn't kill with claws or fangs. They chased their prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. They never gave up, never stopped. And now they're hunting us the same way." The reports from the battlefield proved it. Human soldiers fought in shifts, maintaining constant pressure. When one group got tired, another took its place. They didn't need to win every battle. They just needed to keep the Ravagers running, keep them tired, keep them scared. "Show me their casualty numbers," Rex ordered, dreading what he would see. The numbers appeared on screen. The humans had lost more soldiers than the Ravagers, but they didn't seem to care. For every human that fell, 2 more took their place. Their armies grew larger every day while the Ravager forces shrank. "We found something else," his science officer added quietly, "about their psychology." New images appeared, humans celebrating small victories, helping wounded comrades, working together to overcome challenges. The more the Ravagers hurt them, the stronger their resolve became. They weren't breaking under pressure, they were getting stronger. "Each defeat makes them more determined," the science officer explained. "They learn from every failure, and they share information faster than any species we've encountered. When one human unit finds a weakness in our defenses, every human army knows about it within hours." Rex watched as another human factory came online, spitting out new weapons designed specifically to kill Ravagers. Their early victories now seemed meaningless. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were evolving their entire civilization into a war machine. "Commander," his second-in-command approached carefully. "Our biological weapons are ready." "Should we?" "No," Rex cut him off. "Look at their medical facilities." The screen showed human hospitals and research centers. They were advancing faster than anyone thought possible. Human doctors worked tirelessly, developing new treatments, improving their technology. They had already created countermeasures for most biological weapons. "We're not fighting a war anymore," Rex realized. We're fighting an entire species that refuses to be prey. Every human on their planet is either making weapons, fighting us, or finding new ways to kill us. He turned to his officers, seeing the same fear in their eyes that he felt in his heart. The humans weren't just another species to conquer. They were something else entirely, predators who had turned their entire planet into a weapon. "Send word to the fleet," Rex ordered. "All ships prepare for maximum defensive operations. We're not fighting for victory anymore. We're fighting for survival." But as he gave the order, human ships were already launching from hidden bases around their planet. They had reverse-engineered Ravager technology and improved it. Now, they were ready to take the fight to the stars. The hunters had become the hunted. The Ravager command center was dark, except for the glow of emergency lights. Commander Rex's claws tapped nervously on his armored chair as he reviewed their remaining options. They had lost half their fleet, most of their ground forces, and their reputation as unbeatable predators. "Release the virus," Rex ordered finally. "All of it." His officers looked at each other nervously, but followed the command. Across Earth's atmosphere, Ravager ships released clouds of engineered diseases. The viruses were designed to be perfect killers, created to target human DNA. This was their most powerful weapon, saved for when all else failed. But the humans had prepared for this too. "Commander," the science officer's voice was filled with disbelief. "The humans, they're not dying." On the screens, human cities continued to function. Hospitals were ready with vaccines and treatments. Their scientists had somehow predicted the exact types of biological weapons the Ravagers would use. "Impossible," Rex growled. "How did they know?" The answer appeared on his screen. Human research papers from years before the invasion. They had studied diseases, prepared vaccines, and built medical facilities specifically to handle alien biological warfare. They had even created special air filtration systems for their cities. "They didn't just prepare for war," his science officer said quietly. "They prepared for every type of war. They imagined all the ways we might try to kill them, and created defenses for each one." Rex slammed his fist on his console. "Then we'll break their spirit. Show them what happens to worlds that resist us." The Ravagers launched their terror campaign. They destroyed empty cities to show their power. They tried to disrupt human communication networks. They broadcast images of their victories on other worlds. But nothing worked. Instead of breaking down, the humans got angry. Very angry. "Commander, human military activity is increasing." His tactical officer's voice shook. "They're not afraid. They're furious. They're launching major offensives on every front." The screens showed the human counterattack. Their weapons had improved again. They now had energy shields reverse-engineered from captured Ravager technology. Their soldiers wore better armor. Their ships were faster. And they had so many of them. "Fall back to defensive positions," Rex ordered. "Protect our remaining ships." But the humans had changed their tactics too. They no longer fought like defenders. They attacked like predators, striking weak points, cutting off escape routes, hunting down every Ravager force they could find. "Sir," his second-in-command approached with a data pad. "I think you should see this." The pad showed intercepted human communications. They weren't just fighting on Earth anymore. They had decoded the location of Ravager bases on Mars and their moon. Human forces were already heading there, ready to drive the Ravagers out of the entire solar system. "How can they advance so fast?" Rex demanded. "We've been fighting in space for centuries." "Because they work together," his science officer explained. "When one human makes a discovery, they share it with all humans. When one group develops a new weapon, every group gets it. They don't compete with each other like we do. They unite against outside threats." The evidence was clear on every screen. Humans from different countries shared technology, strategies, and resources. They translated their communications into every language. They trained each other's soldiers. The entire species worked as one giant hunting pack. "We still have our super weapons," Rex said desperately. We could destroy their major cities, force them to surrender. His weapons officer shook his head. Sir, we've lost contact with our superweapon platforms. The humans, they sent special forces teams in stealth ships. They captured or destroyed all of them. Rex stared at the tactical display as more red dots representing his forces disappeared. The humans weren't just beating them. They were taking their technology, improving it, and using it against them. Each Ravager loss made the humans stronger. Send the message, Rex said finally, his voice hollow. Tell all remaining forces to prepare for our final defense. We gather everything we have left at our main base. We make our last stand there. But as he gave the order, he saw human ships gathering in orbit. They had built an armada larger than anything the Ravagers had ever faced, and they were getting ready to launch their final attack. The prey species had become the galaxy's new apex predator. The human fleet appeared from behind Earth's moon, thousands of ships moving in perfect formation. They weren't the simple spacecraft the Ravagers had first seen. These ships combined human ingenuity with captured alien technology, and they had improvements the Ravagers had never imagined. Commander Rex watched from his command center on Mars as the massive human armada approached. Their ships looked different from standard human designs. Some were huge, carrying what looked like modified versions of Ravager weapons. Others were small and fast, designed to slip through defense shields. How many ships? Rex asked, his voice barely a whisper. Over 5,000, Commander, his sensor officer replied. And more are launching every hour. They've turned their entire orbital infrastructure into shipyards. The humans had done something unprecedented. They had taken Ravager technology, understood it within months, and made it better. Their ships now had stronger shields, more powerful weapons, and most worrying of all, new technologies the Ravagers had never seen before. Show me their new weapons, Rex ordered. The main screen displayed footage from recent battles. Human ships fired strange energy beams that passed right through Ravager shields. They launched swarms of small automated drones that could think for themselves. Some ships could even create temporary wormholes, appearing behind Ravager vessels to attack their weak spots. They're not just copying our technology, the science officer explained. They're combining it with their own ideas. They're creating things we never thought of. The first wave of human ships engaged the Ravager defense line around Mars. Rex expected a traditional space battle, with ships firing at long range. Instead, the humans showed them yet another new way of fighting. Their ships moved in complex patterns, like dancers in a deadly ballet. Small ships darted between larger ones, each group protecting the other's weak points. When Ravager ships destroyed one human vessel, two more immediately took its place. They're using wolf pack tactics in space, Rex realized, just like their ancient hunting strategies. The humans had taken their oldest hunting techniques and applied them to space warfare. They surrounded Ravager ships like their ancestors had surrounded mammoth herds. They cut off escape routes and forced their prey exactly where they wanted them. Sir, the tactical officer's voice was panicked. They're not just attacking our ships. Look at their ground forces. The screen shifted to show Mars' surface. Human troops in advanced spacesuits were already landing. They moved with incredible speed in the low gravity, using new weapons designed specifically to work in Mars' thin atmosphere. They had studied every detail of the environment and prepared for it. Our ground defenses are failing, the tactical officer reported. Their suits, they're better than ours. They've improved everything about them. Better life support, better weapons, better shields. Rex watched in horror as human forces systematically took apart his defensive positions. They had learned from every earlier battle, found every weakness in Ravager tactics, and created counters for them all. Launch our remaining fighters, Rex ordered. All of them. But even this desperate move played into human hands. Their ships carried special weapons designed to target Ravager fighters. Energy nets trapped whole squadrons. Electromagnetic pulses shut down Ravager systems. Every Ravager tactic was met with a carefully prepared human response. "Commander," his second-in-command said quietly, "we're detecting more human fleets launching from Earth. Much more." The tactical display showed the truth. This wasn't just an attack. It was an extermination fleet. The humans had built enough ships to drive the Ravagers not just from their solar system, but to pursue them back to their own worlds. "How?" Rex demanded. "How did they build so much so quickly?" The answer appeared on his screen: human historical records. In their past, they had turned their entire planets into war machines when threatened. They called it total war, where every person, every factory, every resource was dedicated to fighting. "Sir," his tactical officer reported grimly, "their ships are approaching the command center. They'll breach our defenses in minutes." Rex looked at the human fleet, now filling his view screen. They had taken everything the Ravagers threw at them, learned from it, and come back stronger. They weren't just fighting to survive anymore. They were fighting to make sure no one ever threatened Earth again. "Send the signal," Rex ordered, "to all remaining forces. Fall back to the final defensive position. We make our last stand at the main base." But as he gave the order, he knew it was already too late. The humans weren't just coming to defeat them. They were coming to hunt them to extinction. The Ravager main base on Jupiter's largest moon was their final fortress. Built into the ice of Europa, it should have been impregnable. Its shields were the strongest in their fleet. Its weapons could destroy entire squadrons. This was where Commander Rex and his remaining forces would make their last stand. "Status report," Rex demanded, standing in the fortress's central command room. 2,000 warriors remaining, his second-in-command reported. 300 ships. All our remaining weapons and supplies are here. It would have been enough to conquer most worlds. But not Earth. Never Earth. The human fleet appeared from hyperspace, darkening the sky above Europa. Their ships had changed again, showing even more improvements. They had taken every lesson from every battle and created something new, something terrible. "They're hailing us," the communications officer announced. The main screen lit up, showing the human commander. He looked ordinary, weak even, compared to the mighty Ravagers. But his eyes held something that made even Rex feel cold, the look of a true predator. "Surrender," the human said simply, "or be destroyed." Rex laughed, but there was no joy in it. "You think we fear death. We are the apex predators of the galaxy. We die fighting." The human commander just nodded, as if he expected this answer. "You still don't understand. You're not apex predators. You're just bullies who got lucky. We'll show you what real predators can do." The screen went dark, and the attack began. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, each group supporting the others. They had studied the fortress's design and found every weakness. Their smaller ships targeted shield generators, while larger vessels drew defensive fire. They weren't just fighting. They were hunting. "Return fire," Rex roared. "Show them our power." The fortress's weapons blazed, destroying several human ships. But for each one they destroyed, 2 more took its place. The humans had built their fleet so large that losses didn't matter to them. "Sir," the sensor officer's voice was panicked. "They're doing something to the ice." Special human ships were firing strange energy beams at Europa's surface. They weren't attacking the fortress. They were melting the ice around it, creating weak points, preparing for their ground forces. "Impossible," Rex whispered. "They've learned to terraform during combat." The humans had taken their understanding of geology, chemistry, and physics and turned it into a weapon. They weren't just fighting the Ravagers. They were fighting the moon itself, changing it to suit their needs. When the human troops landed, they moved like water through the cracks they had created. Their newest armor suits let them swim through the liquid channels they had melted in Europa's ice. They attacked from below, from above, from every direction at once. "They're inside the lower levels," someone shouted. "They're everywhere." Rex watched his tactical display as section after section of the fortress fell. The humans had learned everything about Ravager tactics, Ravager technology, even Ravager psychology. They knew exactly how the defenders would react, where they would retreat, where they would make their stands. "Sir," his second-in-command approached. Should we consider surrender?" But Rex knew it was too late for that. The humans weren't interested in taking prisoners. They had learned too well from the Ravagers themselves. Showing mercy to a dangerous enemy was foolish. "One last message," Rex said, moving to his private communications room. "To all Ravager worlds. They need to know what happened here. They need to know what humans really are." As his officers fought and died around him, Rex recorded his final warning. "To all who receive this, beware the humans. We thought they were prey, but we were wrong. They are something we've never seen before. They don't just fight. They learn. They don't just kill. They adapt. Every defeat makes them stronger. Every battle makes them smarter. They take their enemy's strength and make it their own." The door to his chamber burst open as human soldiers entered. Rex looked at them, seeing not the weak creatures he had first encountered, but the ultimate predators they had become. "We thought we were the apex predators of the galaxy," he continued, knowing these were his last words. "But the humans showed us the truth. They are what comes after apex predators. They are the next step in evolution. And now they're coming for all of us." The message ended. The fortress fell, and in orbit above Europa, the human fleet prepared for their next hunt. They had protected Earth, but that was just the beginning. Now they would take the fight to the stars, ensuring that no one would ever threaten their world again. The age of the Ravagers was over. The age of humanity had begun.